trying to sing. Anyway, I am back with another video. Haven't really done many videos on this channel, so as you can see by the title, it's gonna be a pretty deep type of vibe today. So I tried to get cute with it because I don't know how I'm gonna look by the time this video ends. So I've been dreading doing this video. I've been wanting to do it for a while now, but it's just been taking a minute to get my thoughts together and really see how I feel about discussing this whole situation. In a sense, you know, like when speaking on these types of subjects, it's very touchy. It's very touchy. It's a lot. When discussing these type of topics. So I finally had a free day and I decided to just go for it. So my first things first, my whole intention of even doing this video is basically to reach people who've also been in this type of situation, whether it be from you being a kid or your adult years. I just decided that it's a good thing, but in a sense it's not. And I think my thought process on why it took me so long, it was really because when you're talking about this type of thing, you don't want to really expose certain things out of fear of being judged, first of all, and two, you don't know how people are gonna perceive you or perceive your family or perceive the situation or how they're gonna respond to it. So I really haven't spoken to many people about it. So I decided to just be open. That's what the purpose of this channel is for, to be open, let you guys in, to inspire somebody, to really just pretty much be transparent in my life, period, you know. So, I mean, I know everybody has a story. 12 years old, I don't even know what grade I was in. Maybe middle school. I'm assuming I was in middle school because I was 12, so I'm assuming I was in middle school. Always been a bright girl, always had great grades, always kind of was just good, you know, kid, I'm 12. So, basically my mother had a boyfriend, okay? She had a boyfriend. Not really sure how long they've been together, but they were together. I don't know if it was a long time at the time of this incident. I don't think it was. Maybe a year. Don't really know. But I remember being 12 years old, and I was actually living in Florence, South Carolina. Kind of between like Florence, Bennettsville. I remember living there, Darlington, and we lived in all three of them. So it's kind of in those towns because we moved a lot. So, my mother's boyfriend, he had a daughter. She was a few years younger than me, maybe about 4 years younger than me, possibly, at the time. But this all started one night. My mother's boyfriend was going to pick up his daughter, and I asked to ride. I think she was at her grandma's house for like the weekend or something like that. So he was going to pick her up. Basically, school the next day, so he's going to pick her up. We getting ready for school. So okay, I want to ride. Cool. We go pick her up. It's just me, him, and it's her. So this particular night, we're on the way back home. We're on the way back home. My mom is actually home. She didn't go, so she's home with my brothers. We go to get her. We're riding back home. We went like on a long, dark road, and I think the music was like kind of low, not sure. But I'm in the front seat. She's in the back. At this point, she has already fallen asleep. So we're riding. So I don't remember if we were even having a conversation, but I know I remember him saying like, "Give me your hand." So once he say like, he's like, "Give me your hand," I'm kind of confused. I'm like, for what? So he kind of reached over and grabbed my hand and attempted to put it on his stuff. So I jerked it back instantly. Like at this point, I don't even know what my thought process was. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty shocked. Like I was like, no, So I do remember after that being really scared. Once we got back to the house with my mom or whatever, I didn't tell her, but I went in her room. I instantly jumped out of the car. I went in her room. Like at this point, I'm kind of shaken up, kind of nervous because I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, first of all, you're my stepdad. Why the fuck did you just try to put my hand on your peen? And, like, what the fuck? So I go in the house. And I instantly go in my mom's room. I sit on the bed beside her. So I'm talking to her. Well, I'm just sitting there, kind of shook, trembling a little bit. And I remember her asking me, like, what's wrong? Like, he walked past and went into their bathroom because they had, like, the master room and it has the bathroom. So he walked and went into the bathroom, shut the door. So I'm just sitting there, just kind of shook. And she's just like, what's wrong? So I wouldn't say nothing. She just said, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? So I didn't say anything. And she was like, she called his name. And she's like, well, he peeped his head out of the bathroom. And she's like, well, what's wrong with her? So he's like, I don't know. Cool. All right, now this is kind of the beginning of what started, and I kind of feel like I should have said something, but I think I was just scared. Like, first of all, it's never in your thought process to think that an adult, someone that's supposed to be a father figure, whether it would be, brothers, cousins, uncles, anybody of an older age that's very close to you. You're never thinking like, this person is gonna do some shit like this to me. You're not thinking like that. And I wasn't thinking like that. So it kind of shocked me at that moment. But I didn't say anything to my mama. I really didn't. Because honestly, I was scared. I really didn't know what was gonna happen, if I told her. But I didn't say nothing. So, okay. And looking back, I kind of think like, I should have just said something at that moment before it got to me being raped. You know what I'm saying? Now, at that particular time, first of all, just to set the tone on the type of female I was, like, I was a very small girl. I was not I couldn't dress hoochie. Like, my mama was not having it at all. Like, I'm literally a young girl, first of all. So it's only so much I can do or how I can look. So I'm 12 years old at this moment. And I was very, very skinny. Like, wore a 0. Like, I was very small. I'm a child. Like, I didn't act older than I was. I wasn't hot. You know what I'm saying? Or none of that. I was just a normal 12-year-old girl. So, you know, and I know some people look at certain situations when people talk about being raped or whatever, they kind of look at the type of person that was raped, and they kind of pick apart, and they're like, well, oh, she was hot, or she dressed like this, she dressed provocative, so that's why this happened, or it could have happened. You know, so I look back now, being an adult, and I'm like, you know, I was never even that type of girl, you know, especially at 12 years old. My mama was very strict, so it was nothing like that. So I don't even know what went on in his mind to even think that type of way about me. Cool. Okay, so as time goes on, I kind of just left it alone. And I think like a couple days later, or either the next day, I'm not sure, but I just remember being in my mom's room, and he's about to take us to school, and I'm in my mom's room. He's not in the room at the time, but my little barrette box or something was in her room. So I remember walking in her room, getting it, and I'm in the room just kind of putting my hair up in a ponytail to go to school. And he comes in, and he kind of pushes me on the bed. Like, I'm facing the bed. So basically, if he walks in, he's gonna have, you know, he's walking behind me. So he walks behind me, and he literally turns and presses his whole body up against me and falls on me on the bed. So basically, he's on me from the back. And he just kind of lays on top of me. I was like, you know, like, what are you doing? Like, I can't really remember that in detail, but these are just little scenarios that kind of lead it up to what happened. So I remember him doing that, and I remember one night I was in the living room. My mom was in the room in the bed, and he was in the living room. Me and his daughter was actually in the living room first. We were watching TV, and he came out, put her on his lap. I'm laying on the floor, he's on the chair sitting, and she's on his lap, kind of, he's holding her. I mean, she's an older girl, but she wasn't a baby. I'm thinking she's maybe, I was 12, so she was probably 9-ish, you know. So he kind of had her on his lap, and we were all just watching TV for a while. But the whole time he's taking his foot, and he's kind of like tapping me while I'm on the floor, just tapping me while I'm on the floor. So I, you know, kind of keep looking back. He's not seeing me. He's kind of keep hitting me with his foot. So at this point, she's falling asleep again. And I'm just laying on the floor, just watching TV. And I think he asked me, like, what do you think? How do you feel about what I did? Basically asked me how I feel about him trying to touch me, or whatever he did in the room, like laying on top of me. He didn't do anything, but he just literally laid on top of me the second time. So when he asked me, I was just like, you know, I don't like that. And I was like, and he was like, why you say that? And I was like, because, like, he's supposed to be my stepdaddy. And I think it kind of hit him, like, what the fuck? Because he got quiet. He got real quiet, and he started doing this thing with his mouth, like he was thinking, like, damn, you know, what the fuck? So I didn't say anything to my mama. I kind of just dealt with it in a sense. Like, I remember waking up a few times, and I'm sleeping, and I remember waking up, and he's at my room door, kind of just sweeping, as if he's sweeping, but he's sweeping in the same spot over and over, and he's looking in my room, like, just looking in there at me, and he's pretending to be sleeping. Ignored it. You know, I really honestly don't know why I didn't say anything, and I think in a sense I was thinking more so for my mom, like, I don't want to tell her this about her man, you know. Like, I don't know what's going to happen if I do tell her this, you know, but I don't want to tell her this about somebody she's with. And I think I was kind of still in my mind, like, okay, he's going to stop. Like, I don't know. But so I think some months probably went on. It was some months later we moved into an apartment, actually. And we go home, it's after school, my mom is at home, I get home. I'm not sure if my brothers were home, if they were outside. I'm not sure if they were outside or what, but I know I was in the house by myself. And at this moment in my life, like, I was very subtle. I like to play outside or whatever, but at that moment, it was like, I'm fresh out of school. Like, I had on my uniform, navy blue little skirt, because it was like the one with the shorts and the skirt look on top. And I had on the sky blue uniform shirt. Like, I remember this so, like, vividly. Now, we actually, during this time, Tyler Perry was like it at this moment. Like, he was it. Like, I don't even think we had cable, but we had all of his DVDs of his Madea movies. Well, at least we had one, because I remember the family reunion is what we watched, like, all the time. Like, we would take it out, start it over. We was always watching this Tyler Perry. That was what our household consists of. We watched Tyler Perry all the time. So, in this apartment, we kind of had, we had the kitchen, we had, like, the dining room, which my mom turned into a den. So she had, like, a living room chair in there, and we would sit in there and watch all of our movies and eat as well. We barely sat in the living room. This particular day, I'm straight out of school, done did my homework, so I'm laying on the chair, and I'm watching Madea's family reunion, the very first play. And I remember, I think it was on the part where Cora was singing. She had on her little black dress. They had just left the funeral, and she had on her little black dress and she was singing. So I'm laying on the chair and just kind of relaxing, and he comes downstairs and he stands, like, to the walkway entrance or whatever. Trying not to cry. So he's standing to the walkway coming into the den. And I'm just laying there, I kind of glanced up at him. And I'm just laying there, and then okay, so he's just standing to the walkway. I kind of glanced up at him, and I remember he just kind of walked over to me while I'm laying there, and he just literally, like, just jumped on top of me and is basically fondling me, trying to get my clothes to the side or whatever. So I remember moving around a whole lot. Like, I'm moving around a whole lot, and I'm, like, trying to get up, trying to get him off of me. At the end of the day, like I said, I was a very small girl, very small. My lash. I was a very small girl, so I remember moving a lot. Like, I'm just, like, fumbling, I'm trying to push him off of me. Like, and at this, he's, like, dead weighted on me. Okay, sorry. So I remember him being, like, dead weighted on me. Like, he was so heavy. It's like he just was laying, and I'm moving, and I'm trying to get him off of me, and I'm pushing, But the more I'm moving, it's kind of making it easier for him to get inside of my clothes, basically. So, um, so as I'm moving, I remember he took his hand and he's taking his clothes. He's like kind of unzipping his zipper, and I remember trying to put my knees like in front of his stomach and trying to get him off of me. And it's like nothing I was doing was working. Like, it was just kind of making it worse, honestly. And once I realized that me moving was making it worse, I kind of tried to stop. And as soon as I stopped, like, I just knew it was just kind of too late, because as soon as I felt him about to enter me, like, all I could do was kind of brace myself. Because I'm 12 years old. Clearly I'm a virgin. Like, I don't know what to expect. And then in my mind I'm thinking, like, somebody is about to have sex with me. And all I remember is him just pushing, and I yelled out. Like, at this moment, like, I didn't even attempt to fight anymore. I didn't do anything, because at this point I just already know, like, it's too late. You're already. You're already there. So, he, you know, did it for a couple of seconds, and then took and kind of did his business on top of my clothes. And I remember he just got up, like, he didn't even say nothing to me. Like, I kind of just laid there for a second, like, shocked. Like, this man, that's supposed to be my stepdad, he just raped me. So later on that day, I don't really remember. I don't really remember what happened, like, later on that day. I don't. But I remember, like, after that, I went in my room and I just didn't come out all day. Mama got home, you know, I just act normal, and that just really was it. So, as time went on, I kind of just pushed it to the side. Like, and even now, I'm still a very nonchalant person. Like, a lot of stuff I don't really let bother me, or if it do, I'm just quick to be like, oh well, I mean, it is what it is. Like, it is what it is. Gosh, my lash coming up. I'm still like that right now. And that's what I did then. I kind of just pushed it to the side. I didn't too much think about it. and he, you know, he's just walking around the house as if nothing has happened. Like you know, like nothing has happened. Like you're used to doing this. So as time went on, he was still, you know, doing little stuff to me, and you know, feeling on me, or I can be going down the stairs, he can be coming up, he'll rub up against me, or you know, touch me all type of ways. And I remember like a few times he would, you know, just come into my room. Like me and his daughter slept together, so he would come into my room, make me get up, and you know, go down on me and all type of stuff like that. And it was just really weird, and I started to get kind of like the thick skin, like, you know, this is just what my life is gonna be, you know. This is what my life is gonna be. This, you know, my damn stepdaddy is gonna be having sex with me and doing all of this shit to me, and I'm 12 years old. Like, my first time had to be with my mom's man. Like, not even voluntarily. Like, I had to, you know, go through this type of situation, and I didn't even choose to, you know. So fast forward, like, I mean, I hated him so much. Like, I would really show it. Like, I was very disrespectful, I was very rude to him, like, didn't really care. And I just kind of, I just learned to deal with it. That's just what it was. I just learned to deal with it. So, all right, fast forward, some time has gone by, and at this point, I think I started to feel like it was okay. Just looking back, I think I started to feel like this is what it's supposed to be. Like, because I remember I started, you know, just going along with it. Like, okay, like, this is what I want now, or this is what I want to happen. And like, it's just weird. Like, I don't even know, I can't even really explain, like, my thought process at that moment. I guess, you know, like, when you constantly have something happening to you, and I watch a lot of, like, true crime and documentaries and things like that, and I've seen, you know, people talk about being molested and raped and things like that, and older people basically grooming them to make them feel like it's okay if it's a child. You know, you make the child feel like this is what's supposed to happen, or this is what it's supposed to be, so they'll be okay with it as time go on. And I think that's what happened. So, okay, time goes on, and I just called my dad, and I just, you know, I was like, you know, I just can't do this no more. Like, at this point, I just need to leave. Like, I can't live like this. And on top of that, I just felt like my mom wasn't really hands-on. She wasn't really paying attention much to me. And as a child, I always felt like, if I'm being honest, like, I just felt like my mama did not like me. I always felt like she didn't really give a fuck about me, you know. And I'm the only girl. I have 4 brothers. They're all younger than me. But As a child, I just felt like my mom hated me, and in return, I hated her. Honestly, it's just, I feel I can remember days where I would just be trying to go out of my way just to make sure I'm making her happy, like basically trying to in a kid sense buy her love. You know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't give her money, so I would write little notes to her and draw pictures, and I would always bring good grades home, and just basically trying to practically beg for you to give me the love that I wanted, or the love that I feel like a mother is supposed to give their child, period. So at that point I just kind of called my dad. It was some months later, and I remember calling my dad and asking him to come get me, and he came. Which me and my dad was very close. Like, I can say I was a daddy's girl. Like, if something happened and I didn't like it, if I wasn't satisfied at my mom's house, if I called my dad and said come get me, he was coming. He didn't care what time of night it was, what time of day it was. Like, he was coming to get me, and we were going back to Savannah, which he lived there for like mostly as long as I can remember, honestly. He was living in Savannah, and he still does. So I remember calling him. He came and got me, and once I got to his house, I just kind of just broke down and just told him everything that happened and what had went on. And he was just like, I don't know what he did or how he handled it, because at the end of the day I was a child, so he they're not gonna tell you but so much. But my dad, he was a deacon in the church, so I knew he wasn't gonna go and kill him or beat him up or do nothing crazy, because he wasn't that type of guy. So, but in my mind, I didn't really know what to think. I mean, you're a child, you're telling your parent another grown man has fucking raped you. So you don't really know what to expect. So I always was thinking more so on the calm side. Like, I don't want nothing to happen. I don't want nobody to know. I don't want my mama to know, or, So he told my mom, told my grandma, like, me and my grandma was very close. That was my best friend. Told my grandma, like, everyone knew, but my mom, I guess she found out from my dad. I'm assuming. I don't know. So my dad, he put me in school. I'm in school. I'm living with him for about a good year, maybe almost a year. Lived with him for a while. I don't even think I talked to my mom the whole time. I don't think I talked to my mom at all. And I was okay with it. Like, I was so okay with it. I did not care. I was happy as ever. I was away from that. I was getting love. I was being taken care of the right way. And I was okay. So I really didn't care. I don't know if I spoke to her. I can't remember if I did or not. If I did, it probably was once or twice. But I didn't even want to talk to her at all. So, fast forward, I'm at school one day, and I get like called to the office. So, as I'm walking to the office, I guess she's the assistant or the office lady, I don't know. She meets me. She comes to the class to get me, actually. So as we're walking to the office, she's like, it's some people here to get you. Like, it's a lady here saying that she's your mom. And she said that your dad kidnapped you and she's coming to pick you up. And so I get there, get to the front of the office, and my mom is there. I think my mom is there. Somebody else, I don't know who the other person was, but it was a man. And he came, I'm assuming he drove her there. He drove her there. He did. So he drove her there, and she has pictures of me, like family pictures of me, and all of this. She's basically trying to convince the people that, oh, she's my mom. Like, I'm not trying to kidnap this girl. Like, she's my daughter. So the lady let us talk for a while. She said, okay, I'm gonna go in the office and I'm gonna let you talk, to your daughter or whatever. So my mom, we're sitting outside of the office. Nobody's out there. And I remember her asking me, like, what happened? So I was like, Fred raped me. And as soon as I said it, she was just like, oh Lord. First she said that he was touching on you. Now he raped you. So I was like, well, I never said he touched on me. I said he raped me. I never said he just touched on me. So I don't remember how the rest of the conversation went. I don't remember how the rest of the conversation went. I just know she told me, okay, when we get back, I'm going to leave him. You don't even have to see him. You don't even have to be around him. I'll leave him as soon as we get back. That's it. You know, if you come home. So I told the lady, I was like, okay, well, you know, I'll go home. I really didn't want to go, but I was always the type to just do shit to make other people happy. And even to this day, I'm still the same way. Like, regardless of how I feel or if it's going to hurt me, I'm more so going to do what makes the other person happy. So, I remember getting back in the car with her, and you know, she must have told everybody that she was going to get me. So like, once we got in the car, we're headed back to where she lived at the time, which I think she was still in Florence. So while we're headed there, I remember my aunt got on the phone and she was talking to me, and she was, you know, making sure I was okay. So I remember her being on the phone. She's like, yeah, I'm leaving him as soon as I get there. I'm leaving him. Like, no, I'm not, you know, I'm done with him. So we get to her house. He's not there at the moment. Like, the whole time, like, I'm so scared. Like, I just didn't want to have to face this man at all. So I'm just going with the thought, like, okay, my mama said she's gonna leave him. So, you know, I believed it. So at that point, me and her in the house, she's kind of cleaning up, and I'm just like the only one in the house. My brothers are at school, so they get home, and then a little after he gets home. So I'm in the living room, and she's in the kitchen with him talking, and they're talking about the situation. So it was at the moment I heard her say, like, well, she said you raped her. And when I heard him say, like, no, all I did was touch her leg like this, and blah, blah, blah. When I heard her, you know, continuously talking back and forth with him, I knew that at that point she was not leaving this man. So he get in the house, they're talking, and then she said, Rika, come here. First of all, you told me I was not going to have to see this man at all. You were leaving him as soon as you got home. That is why I came back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you said that was going to be it. I wasn't going to have to see him. I wasn't going to have to talk to him. But as soon as he gets home, you call me to face this man. So, so we're all now in the kitchen. We're all just talking, and she's like, what happened? So I'm telling what happened. So he just get quiet again. So he's like, all I did was touch her leg like that. You know, the whole time he denied the whole situation. He denied the whole situation. He never said he raped me. He never said he did nothing. All he said was that he touched my leg like that. First of all, I'm old enough to know if you just touch my leg and if you had sex with me. You know what I'm saying? How the hell can I not know this? You know what I'm saying? I've always been very mature as a child because growing up, I was responsible for my brothers. When my mom had to go to work, I basically was their mother. Like, I had to take care of them all the time. I had to cook for them. I had to make sure they did homework. Like, I was the mother, and I was a little kid myself. But that's what I had to do. So I was very mature. I knew what was what. It's not like I was stupid. Like, come on now. I'm 12 years old, 13 probably at that moment once she came and got me back. So, like, I know what you did to me. I'm not stupid. So she was like, well, I don't want you to be around her. Never one time did she say, we are done, you need to get your shit, you need to get the fuck out. She didn't flip out. She didn't do nothing. She had a casual conversation with this man. Somebody's calling me. But she had a casual conversation with this man. Like nothing happened. So in my mind, now I'm feeling like you don't even believe what the fuck I told you. Because if you did, this conversation wouldn't even be going this smooth. Like, you know, me now having kids and shit, I have a daughter myself, so I couldn't imagine being that damn calm after my child has just told me somebody has raped her. How does that work? How does that work? I don't understand. But okay, so she didn't leave him. She just had it so we wouldn't be around each other in the house. When he walk out, or if she walk in this room, you leave out the room, blah, blah, blah. And I dealt with it. I mean, at this point, I had done came back. So it was like, what the hell can you do? I'm a child. There's really not much I can do. You know, so basically she lied to me. She stayed with him. She stayed with him a couple more years. She stayed with him a few more years after that. And this man was still molesting me. Still molesting me. And I kind of just was just used to it at that point. Like, it didn't even bother me no more. It's just like, in my mind, I was like, you know what? My mama don't even give a fuck. She don't care. Like, I can't tell her. Because clearly I told her what happened. And she did not leave him. You stayed with him. You went and get this man name tattooed on you. And you knew what he had done to your daughter. Like, how can you feel comfortable laying beside a man that's a fucking predator and you know has raped your child, and your child is right in the other room? And you know this, and you don't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? You don't do nothing. You stay with him. And I'm forced to have to live a normal life and act normal. I got to walk through the house as if nothing happened. Like, this was my life. Like, I felt like I felt like she did not give a fuck about me or what I've been through. And considering she told me she was molested as a child herself. That's what she told me. So I feel now like, if this has happened to you, why would you want this to happen to your daughter? You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand it. It took her a while, and she finally left him. Mind you, as I'm talking to different people, like I told my cousin, me and my cousin is very close, so I'm telling her what happened. And she was like, well, yeah, your mama said you lied. Your mama said you lied. That man ain't rape you. All he did was touch your leg. He ain't rape you. Like, even other people that I spoke to about the situation, in the family, you know, once I spoke with family members and we talked about it, all of them said the same thing. Your mama said you lied. Your mama said you lied. The man did not rape you. You lied the whole time. And it bothered me, but I just was more so, you know, it just was so, it had done happened so many times, and time had done went on. So at this point, I really didn't even care anymore. You know, I didn't care. It didn't bother me anymore. I was just living my life again, you know, just back to my normal child, you know, 15, 16, you know, didn't really care, didn't really too much think about it. Didn't think about this at all. So as I got older, you know, and I move out and I move on my own, basically Me and her were on the phone one day, and we were talking about just talking, and I remember her saying like, "Yeah, Fred is getting married." Yep, Fred's getting married. I'm gonna go to their wedding. I mean, his fiance be talking, and I'm gonna go to their wedding. Like, we be talking all the time. They want me to come to the wedding, and mind you, I'm an adult at this time. Like, I'm living on my own now, so I didn't say nothing to, but I'm just listening. Like, oh, okay, okay. But I start thinking like, this is fucking crazy. You're still in contact with the person that has raped your child. And I think me and her spoke a couple times after that, and I think I remember her either telling me that he did it to his daughter, if I'm not mistaken. I think she told me that it was said that he raped his daughter. So I kind of, all my life, like after I've become an adult and I moved out or whatever the case is, after I moved out, like nothing really, I didn't too much deal with it. I would talk about that when I would get in relationships. I would tell people what happened, and every now and then, if the subject was appropriate, then I would talk about it or tell somebody what happened. But I never really dealt with it, if that makes sense. I never really dealt with the situation. I never dealt with it. Like, I was just nonchalant, just like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'm not in that situation no more. It's done. It's over with. Like, I never really dealt with it. And as it didn't really start bothering me until recently. Like, once I moved to North Carolina, I think like my first year, which I'm just now hitting my second year, so it's very recent. It didn't start bothering me until recent. Like, I couldn't sleep at night, or I could be just riding in the car, listening to music, and I would just think about it. And my whole mood would change, or I would get emotional, but I would fight the tears, and I would just fight the feeling, and I would talk about it with my boyfriend, and I was like, you know what, I'm just thinking about this more often now. Like, it's really affected me a lot, because I don't really feel like I've dealt with the situation. And me and him would talk about it, or I would talk about it with my best friend, or I'd talk about it with my cousin, and they would be like, you need to see somebody. You might need to go talk to somebody and, get help, with it. And I would always sit and think, like, you know what, you might be right. Like, maybe I need to go talk to somebody, because talking to them, it really wasn't helping, because I wasn't really allowing myself to let go, cry, or let it out. I would just talk about it and then fight the tears, fight the feeling. So it just has been bothering me a lot lately. And I'm 31 years old now. And the fact that I went all of those years and it didn't affect my life until now. But yeah, it didn't affect my life until now. It's a problem, And I kept saying, like, why am I going to pay somebody
I'm not gonna go sit with a psychiatrist and sit down and talk about what happened, and all she's gonna do is give me her professional opinion or whatever. I was like, you know what? I have a platform, like a very big platform, a big following on YouTube, so I feel like I want to get on there and tell my story. And in a sense, I was hesitant because I've been wanting to do it, but I was hesitant because I was like, okay, if I do this, I don't want to make my mom look bad. I don't want people to look at, you know, my situation and judge, you know, like I was just more still thinking, still not thinking for myself or about my feelings. And I could, every time, even now, like I watch a lot of Tyler Perry movies faithfully, like still a big fan. So I remember watching one of his movies, one of his plays, and I remember him saying, well, it wasn't even a play. It was, probably was both, because he turned them into movies. So I remember him saying, anything that's covered up, it can't be healed. Get some help. Like, I'm tired of people saying what happened in this house, stay in this house. Like, if something is bothering you and it's affecting your life, then you need to let somebody know. So that always rung in my head, and even now I'm still like, you know, that is like such a true statement. I would always be like, you know what, like this shit is bothering me. Like, this shit is bothering me like all these years later, and I feel like, why am I thinking about the next motherfucker? I shouldn't be thinking about her or family or nobody else, because this is affecting my life. It's not affecting her life. It's not affecting nobody else's life. It's affecting me. So that's why I decided to do it this way, because I feel like if I'm gonna tell my story to somebody, because even when I was telling it to my friend and my boyfriend and my cousin or whatever, it still wasn't helping me, because I wasn't allowing myself to be open or really, you know, cry and let it out. And I just kept saying, you know, if I'm gonna tell my story, I'm not gonna pay somebody to listen to me tell them what happened to me when I was young. Like, I'm not gonna pay somebody for that. So I kept saying, if I'm gonna tell my story, I'm gonna tell my story and hope that it reaches somebody else and hope that it helps someone else. That has possibly went through it. Whether it be if you were a child and molested, or if you were an adult and you got raped. Like, I want to be transparent, and I wanted to help someone else and possibly touch someone else and help, you know, just let you know, like, it doesn't, you don't have to let it affect who you are, or you don't have to be ashamed to tell people what has happened to you, because my trauma can be someone else's, you know, motivation to either get help or tell their story to someone else, or to put their soul to ease or their mind to ease. Like, you know, I'm not the only one. Like, this has happened to other people. Like, I don't have to be ashamed that somebody violated me in a way that I didn't want to be violated. You know, like, I can never, like, I just think, like, when I would meet partners, like boyfriends, or, you know, you want to tell people about your first time, like, it's not a happy Like, it's not a happy story, you know, and I'm probably gonna forever deal with it. But I'm hoping, you know, me telling my story is not only helping someone else, it's, I feel like it's helping me, or it's gonna help me, because now I can be open about my situation. Now I have let myself get it out, and hopefully going forward, you know, it won't bother me so much. So, you know, but, you know, stuff like that affects, it really affects you as a person. And it's hard to get over that type of situation. And it's easy to tell people. It's easy to tell your family. Like when I was telling my friend, my boyfriend and my cousin, like, they never been through that situation. So it's easy to tell people, but they can't really relate because they've never been there. You can't really be comforted the way you need to be comforted because they don't understand. You know, they know it's fucked up. They know that it's a bad situation. They know that it's terrible, and it probably hurts them too, and it's sad. But you know, it's, you can't really relate if you've never been in that situation. So that's why I think I felt like it wasn't really helping me by telling them, because they never been there. You can't really say you know how I feel if you've never walked down that road. If you never had to experience being raped, you would never know how somebody feels. Or how it affects your life further down the road. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of people, even, you know, just not even with being raped, but any type of trauma, like a lot of people aren't strong enough to handle it. And that's why I look at people and I'm like, you know what? That's why some people, they turn to drugs, or they're serial killers, or they're rapists. They turn into rapists themselves, or, you know, anything, you know, because they don't know how to handle it, because they can't talk to anybody about it. They're ashamed. So they hold in all of that anger, and it just comes out in other ways. And it just basically destroys them because they're not strong enough to tell anybody about it, in fear of being judged, in fear of not being believed. Like, it's very serious. And it's even worse when the person that you tell, and the person that's supposed to be there to protect you, your parents are supposed to be your number one supporters. Your parents are supposed to be your fucking backbone. They're supposed to help you. They're supposed to make you feel safe and make sure you are safe because they brought you here. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't imagine something happened to my kids and I don't protect them or try to protect them, especially when I have the means to protect them, or I can do something to change it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I mean, I feel a little better getting it off of my chest, which, you know, it wasn't easy. It's not easy to talk about. It's never easy to talk about. And I'll forever be reminded of it, because when you meet people and when people are sitting up and they're talking about their first time, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, when you're talking about your first time, usually people have, you know, it's with someone their own age, and we're all, you know, you're both new, or somebody is a little more experienced than the other, but we're around the same age, and it was our choice. We made the decision to do this together. You know, you just never have those stories. Your story will never be the same as a person that wanted it. You know what I'm saying? Your story would never be that. You know, you're practically forced, and you have to be reminded all the time that somebody took this from you. Like, somebody took this from you without your consent, and for it to be somebody that's supposed to be a father figure, or if you're a man and you were molested, if it was a woman, you know what I'm saying, somebody that's supposed to be a mother figure, or an adult that's way older than you and supposed to be teaching you, they're hurting you. And to not have anybody to stand up for you hurts the worst, because it's like, why did you bring me here if you weren't gonna protect me? You know what I'm saying? So, I'm just hoping that this really reaches somebody and motivates somebody to tell their story, and to get that weight off of your shoulder. If you're holding on to it, if you haven't dealt with it, hopefully this helps you to talk about it with somebody that don't know you, or just be open. And me being me, like, I've never been a sensitive person, and I think that's why I never really dealt with it either, because I've always been the type, I don't want to cry. I don't want people to see me cry. I don't want to feel vulnerable. I don't want nobody to have that type of leverage over me to say that, oh, she was crying, or she's weak. That's how I always looked at it. So that's why I never really wanted to discuss it, because I know every time I would get to say something about it, before I got too far, I would stop, because I would feel myself about to cry. And I'm like, I don't want to cry in front of this person. I don't want them seeing me crying like this. Like, I'm supposed to be strong. I'm supposed to be like, fuck that. Like, nonchalant, don't care. Like, it is what it is. But being that type of person brought me to this. Not dealing with it before caused it to come back around. You know what I'm saying? Like, me not crying about it before, or really being open about it and letting it all out, and attempting to take the steps to let it go, it started affecting my life. Like, I would just be mad. You know what I'm saying? Just be mad for nothing. Like, I'm really not big on sex like that, like, at all. Like, it bothers me so bad. Like, and it started bothering me so bad. I thought I was over it, and I'm hoping that now I can, really get over it. And hopefully this is like the step that I've been needing to take to get over it. And just let myself know that it's not my fault. Like, some people are just fucked up individuals. Like, you have men out here that prey on little girls. Like, and it's real, and you don't have to do nothing. You can be walking around with barrettes in your hair, and a man will look at that as sexy, and it's weird as fuck. So, I've never blamed myself for it happening, and I'm grateful for that, because a lot of people do blame themselves. So I never blame myself for it happening to me, because I know that I wasn't that type of person. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not what I wanted. So hopefully it helps. I feel a little better that I did cry, because I never let it out. I never let it out because I don't want to feel weak. And when I cry, I just feel like I'm being weak. So I'm grateful that I got to share it with you all. Hopefully this video does touch someone and helps you and encourage you to take that step to let it go and just get it out, because holding on to it, it really just kind of destroys you as a person, and it tears you down mentally. Like, you'll drown yourself in work and just do all type of things just to keep from dealing with it. So I'm glad that I got the courage to deal with it, and I probably wouldn't have if I didn't see Mr. Tyler Perry himself, you know, saying, you know, letting everybody know that it's okay. You know, traumas happen, things happen to you. It's okay. You don't have to feel bad. You can let it out. You can, you know, you don't have to be ashamed, like, to get help. You know, if it's hurting you, get help. Let it out. Attempt to let it go. Talk to somebody. You don't have to hide it. So I'm so grateful for that. And even though it took me so long to really come to terms with it, I'm glad that I have, because this is a big step. You know, I don't know how many people is gonna see this video, so you know, it's just the risk that I'm taking. You know, I just didn't want to ever be judged by something that happened to me that I had no control over. And at this point, you know, I'm just kind of like, I really don't even care. You know, so I want all positive vibes, because it takes a lot to come in front of people and tell them what's happened to you, especially things that you're not fond of, you know, things that embarrass you or things that you want to hide. Like, you don't have to hide it. Just, you know, surround yourself with people that love you either way it go, and everything will work out. Whew. Honey, I thought I was gonna look a little bad. My makeup was gonna be messed up, but I'm alright. I made it out alive, honey. My lash is coming off. I'm gonna have to go fix it. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. Send me positivity. Send me lots of positivity in the comments. I am always here if anybody want to talk. If you want to get things off your chest, I'm definitely here, honey, because we all need somebody, baby. And a lot of us are alone in this world, and sometimes family is just like strangers, and strangers will show you more love than the blood. So, you know, I'm always here. I'm always open. I love to talk to people and hear their stories, and I got a lot more stories coming your way. You know, a lot more. Hopefully they don't make me cry, but I got a lot more coming your way. Make sure you share this video. Share it everywhere, because we really need to touch people. We really need to let other people see that it's easy, and it doesn't always have to be a stressful situation, and you can be open, especially with children, because a lot of children these days, they need people to let them know it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Because each one teach one. And if I can touch a child, or if something is going on with someone else's child, and I can be the voice of reason for them to come out and tell their parent, I want to be that. Because sometimes parents don't make it easy for you to tell them anything. They don't. And that's why now, like, the type of parent I am, I take my past and the things that I know I wanted as a kid, and I implement it in my life today with my kids. I let them have their room to talk. I don't shut them up. I let them say whatever they say, as long as they're not disrespectful. You know, I let them have a voice, because when you scare your kids to the point of where they, you know, they don't want to tell you anything, that's a problem, and you got to reevaluate your life. And a lot of times we feel like just because we're the parent, we know every damn thing. And we don't. Our kids can teach us some shit too. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to shut up as a parent and you need to listen to your child. Because as a child, I was very mature. I knew a lot. You know what I'm saying? But when you're not given the opportunity to talk and be heard, you know what I'm saying? You shut down. And you become scared because you don't want to say the wrong thing. You know, afraid of being yelled at or beat or, you know, anything, you know. So, you know, let your kids watch this video. You know what I'm saying? Share it everywhere. Put it on your social media platform. Share it with everybody. You know, do all of that because it's very important. And these things are happening every day. Kids are being molested and they're not saying anything because it's by people that they love or people that's older and they're scared. So we gotta stress these things to our kids to talk to us. Let your parent know what's going on with you. You know what I'm saying? And parents, you gotta make it easy for your kids to approach you and tell you things. Because if you don't, you're not gonna know nothing about nothing until they hit 31. You know what I'm saying? And then they're gonna start telling you the way they felt when they were 15 or 16. And you don't want that. You wanna have a bond with your child. You want them to tell you what's going on in their life because you are their support system. You are supposed to protect them in this life. You brought them here. So you have to take care of them and you have to make sure they're happy. It is your responsibility. It is your job to make sure you are keeping your kids safe and that they can trust you and they feel safe when they're with you. So on that note, thank y'all for tuning in. Love y'all. I got through it. I got through it. And I'm so grateful. Mwah, mwah, mwah.